Karibu and welcome back to my kitchen. So in today's video I'll be sharing with you how I cook my okra, and then further on I'll be also showing you how I cook my kapenta, because on this particular day I was really missing Zambian food, so I decided to just throw down a feast, cook some okra, some kapenta, some fish and some mashima, of course. As you can see, I am using packaged okra, but you can use a fresh one if you like. To begin with, I'm going to pour my diced okra into the pot. Then add some chopped tomato. This is just canned tomato, but you can use a fresh one if you want. And then I'll add some onions to the mix as well. So because I'm making this the soda way, what I mean is using bicarbonate of soda, because you can either fry it or you do it this way, but in this particular video I'm showing you how I cook my okra with bicarbonate of soda. So I'm just using about 1/4 teaspoon. And then I go ahead and add some water. So on this stage, I was really conscious about pouring in a lot of water, because I didn't want it to be too watery, because the okra was frozen, meaning it had moisture in it, so I didn't want it to be too watery. So be careful in this pot, but just eyeball it and put enough water to it. After a while you'll see that it will start forming up, and then I go ahead and just give it a quick mix. I love the vibrancy of the colors going on here, and as you can see, it's just as good as fresh okra, really, and it tastes just as good. So there you go, there's an option. I will then allow it to just further on cook a bit more, and then you should have something that looks like this. And at this point I'm quite happy with the results, and it is ready to eat. Before I forget, I added some aromat to it just to give it some taste, because I didn't add any salt to it, and aromat is as good as salt. And that's about the only seasoning that I add to it. And then I just give it a good mix, and you're good to go. Next up, I will be cooking my kapenta. This is the really tiny, is it the Polungu kapenta? I can't remember, but it's the really tiny kapenta. We got this last year in December when we went to Zambia, and we still have quite a bit. So you start off by rinsing it, or rather should I say, you have to add some hot water to the mix, because it normally has quite a lot of sand on it, so you need to make sure that all the sand is washed out. If not, you're going to have some grainy bits as you are eating your kapenta, and that's not a delightful experience at all. So make sure you rinse it really good. I gave it about 2 rinses, and after that I was happy to go ahead with frying it. So use whatever oil you have, and I'm using pure vegetable oil. And then I will start off by just frying my kapenta. So with my kapenta, I like it to be really crispy, I think that's just how I prefer to have it, and I just allow it to fry away on medium heat because you don't want to burn it. But yeah, this is how I do it. And I remember growing up, we hardly ate that much kapenta, and I think it's one of those dishes that almost every Zambian family at least might have once in a while. It is an acquired delicacy, but I love it. So you're gonna add some onions, of course, as you fry the onions and the kapenta together. And the aroma at this point is really good. Okay, so in terms of seasoning, I just use some chili and lemon seasoning. It's entirely optional, but I tend to add a bit of this because it adds some flavor to it. I know most Zambians will be looking at this and saying, what? You're adding seasoning to kapenta? Because most Zambian food, really, we do not add quite a lot of seasoning to our food. We just prefer it the natural way. But my palate has kind of changed, and I do like my spices in my food. So there you go. So the kapenta is looking good, pretty good at this point. It's looking nice and crispy, just how I like it. At this point, I will then add some diced or chopped tomato to the mix, and I don't add a lot of tomato to it because I don't like it to be too wet, but at the same time I wanted to have that tomato flavor, so just add a little bit, about maybe 2 tablespoons, because I was making a bit of kapenta. It's not a lot, but it's just for me and my husband, so this was enough for us. And then let it just cook away for about further 3 minutes or so. I then added some paprika. This one is optional as well, but I wanted that smoky flavor to it, so why not? I added some parsley as well. Again, it's unconventional, but this is how I like it. So give it a good mix and let that bubble away for about 2 to 3 minutes. And voila, here you have it, fried kapenta with some parsley and paprika and all sorts. So this is the final dish, the kapenta, the okra with soda, and I made some bean stew as well. And yeah, so this is the mix, and I served it in this way. As you can see, there's some fish there, there's fried tilapia and our nshima. And that was our meal in a nutshell. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, don't forget to leave me a thumbs up, and I'll see you in my next video.